Are we live? Can you see me? Hey, everybody. I just wanted to start this just a little bit early so I can say hi to everybody that's in the comment section, let YouTube send out the notification to everybody and let them know that I'm officially live because, it takes a little while for everyone to get notifications. But yeah, wow, there's a lot of people in the comment section. If you see me looking over here, yeah, over here, it's because I have a bigger screen where I can read everything that's going on. And also, if you see me looking down, it's because I made notes. So, congratulations. I made notes so I could stay on point because I like to talk. So, many of you know that. I love to talk. And so, this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm so happy to be a part of this retreat. So cool. So many cool things that I need to go back and rewatch right now. It's funny, I saw someone say, my head is about to explode because of all the stuff that I've watched this weekend. I know how that is. Sorry, I do have a cat, and she likes to get on my nerves when I go live. Every time. Never fails. So, but yeah. Is it 4 o'clock? 4 o'clock? Oh my goodness. It is time to get started. So, I'm happy you are here. I'm going to be chatting with all of you about Author Platform today. OMG. I love Author Platform and branding and marketing and all that stuff. It's the types of things that really gets me going. And that's why I have a nifty, wherever it is, I don't know how to do this way, PowerPoint presentation to keep me on track because I will talk about this for 5 hours and then y'all won't go to the next presentation. So this is to keep me on track 100%. But anyway, I am checking out the comment section. Sorry, someone said, will you give us the PDF of the PowerPoint? I will be happy to. Maybe I'll ask some of the ladies who put this retreat together if they can stick it on the website for you all to download. Yeah, maybe. I'm sure I'll be happy to give it to y'all. There's a lot of information in here, so yeah. It is 4:01. I'll wait another minute and then we'll get started with this. But yeah, I love that all these people are here joining me. Hello. Yay, I'm so excited to be here. I'm so happy to be here. Real quick, also, it is thundering and lightning outside of my house right now. So if y'all hear some rumbling going on, that's the weather. If for some reason my internet goes out, because it typically does that when I live stream, I'm like Arnold Schwarzenegger and I will always be back. Always just hang tight. Don't leave. I will always come back. I have a hotspot. I've got fiber internet. If one of them doesn't work, the other one typically does. And I've got a backup hotspot on my phone. So I always come back. But yeah, so happy y'all are here. Okay, it's 4:02. And let's go ahead and go over the overview. So this is the things that we will cover in the presentation today. I will give you an introduction to me. We will do an overview of what Author Platform actually is. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks with the 5 W's, something that I've come up with. I even wrote definitions for y'all. This is how on top of this I've been. We're going to do the Author Platform breakdown, and then I'm going to leave the last 20 minutes for you all to ask all the questions to me, because I know that when I go to conferences and stuff and people give these in-depth presentations that just has the light bulbs just going all off, I always want to ask questions because, maybe something was said that I had never thought of before. And so I am opening myself to you all to ask me all the questions at the end. If I finish early, then we will start Q&A earlier. So yeah. It's going to be beneficial, I hope. And if it's not, just lie to me and tell me that it is. How about that? So I think that it's really important that I am transparent with who I am and what my author journey is, because, I'm not just coming on here to tell you about Author Platform and don't know anything about it. I have some experience to share with y'all. And so my name is Courtney, for all of you who are new out there to my channel. I write under the pen names Lyra Parrish, and I am one half of the USA Today best-selling duo Kennedy Fox. To back it up a little bit, this presentation will be through the lens of self-publishing because that's all I've ever really done. Author platform is not just for self-published authors, it's for traditional published authors as well. But I will be talking about things that are specifically for self-publishing too. So about me, I have a degree in finance and economics. I was a business major. Numbers are my thing. I'm a super big nerd when it comes to numbers and like breaking down ROI, which is return on investment and things of that nature. I did not grow up wanting to be a writer. That was not something that I ever said when I was a kid. Wrote poetry, you know, the emo stuff everybody did in the 90s. And I kept a diary when I was younger, which I told everybody on my live stream last night. And, you know, I did the writerly things. I had some professors in college and teachers in high school who told me that I should write. And I was just like, I'm not going to be a writer. Like, that's not my dream. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a stock market financial advisor. Like, you know, whatever. And so I went to business school, and one day, just randomly, me and my husband was hiking, and I said, I want to write a book. I know, this is how I live my life, guys. I live on the edge, just random ideas and just go for it. And so I said, I want to write a book. And this was in 2011. And he was like, but you're not a writer. And I said, I know, that's what's so cool about it, right? Like, I'm going to write a book. And so I started writing that day. And ever since March of 2011, I have been writing. I don't know what happened in that forest. I don't know what happened, but I've been writing ever since. And so in 2012, I got a publishing contract I wrote young adult. And I got a publishing contract. And by the end of 2012, I got out of that publishing contract very quickly. About a year I was in it, and I was like, I don't want to do this. And so it kind of like knocked me down a little bit because, you know, you get a publishing contract and you think you're going to be J.K. Rowling. And then the curtain is pulled back and you realize, you know, maybe publishers aren't all that they're, you know, cut up to be. And so in 2013, I had a friend who was very successful with self-publishing, and she was like, hey, you should self-publish. You should totally do this. And so I started writing romance in the summer of 2013. And in 2014, I self-published my first book. Over the course of 2 years, I published 8 books under Lyra Parrish. And then I joined like a really scammy MLM, which is a multi-level marketing company. And I say that's one of the worst decisions of my life because I did it so I could write more, and it ended up replacing writing. And when I was in that, Brooke Cumberland, who was also a romance author, like we were acquaintances, she was on the same scammy team. And so it got to a point where I was like, I really hate this. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I want to go back to writing because that's the whole reason I did this, so I could write. And it replaced it. And she was like, you know what? I really hate this too. And I want to go back to writing as well. And so in 2016, we decided to co-write. She said, what about co-writing? And I was like, well, I mean, I want to start over anyway, so let's try that out. And so she sent me the first chapter of a book that she had been working on that was a passion project. And I wrote the second chapter. And that's how This Is War by Kennedy Fox was born. We have since self-published 25 books together. The 25th book released on Thursday. Total, I've self-published 33 books. Some accomplishments that Kennedy Fox has made is we've made the USA Today bestseller list 4 times. We've made over $1 million in sales on our books. We have an agent that does our sub-rights management, which is basically foreign rights, audiobooks, any sort of translations. If we were to get a movie deal, she would handle that, and any kind of third-party things. We have been translated into German, and I always forget which one it is. It's either Italian or French. I think it's Italian, but we've had our books translated into 2 languages. We've sold 13 audiobooks to publishers. We've also self-published our audiobooks too. We've had 4 books listed on the Publishers Weekly Top 10 list at one time. And yeah, we grew this all from the ground up. Me and Brooke started Kennedy Fox as a secret duo pen name, and a lot of people don't know that. We didn't tell anybody who was behind it. I say that we started at zero because we did not have an author platform established, and we didn't use any of the previous connections that we had beforehand under our own names when we published. Between us, I think she had published 13 or 14 books, and I had published 8. So between us, we collectively had published over 20 books. So we had the knowledge to launch Kennedy Fox in a very meticulous type way. We are anal, I'm just going to say it. We are very particular with our Kennedy Fox stuff. And so while we did start at zero, we had knowledge to help us set the standard, set the bar very, very high. And so people knew that when we released that we were authors who had experience. Not to say anything about debut authors or new self-published authors, but there's things that you can tell with a newbie that when they're new, how they launch their first books. Because you don't really understand everything that goes into it at first. It takes publishing and doing the thing to really get it. And so people knew, oh, whoever these people are, they know exactly what they're doing. And so we stayed secret for, I guess, 8 months or a year or whatever. And, you know, this blogger group outed who we were because, well, that's a whole other story. But yeah, the point of that is to tell you that we are not a special snowflake. Anybody can have what we have if you put the work into it. That is a side note. You have to be able to work. You have to be willing to work for what you want. And so I am so lucky and grateful that I have an amazing writing partner. She works so hard, guys. Like if I could clone myself, you know, in my work ethic, I think that Brooke would be that clone of me. And so we are what I like to call a power couple. We are literary married. Our finances are mixed because we're a duo. We share all of our profits. And so, you know, we accomplish a lot and we work very, very hard. And yes, there are 2 of us, so we can publish quicker. We can do more things online, but it doesn't make us any special because the things that we're doing right now it's not like rocket science. Anybody can do this. You can do this. And so that is my author story. I think it's important to be transparent with the knowledge that I have, so you'll know that I'm not just up here BSing you. So yeah, that's how Kennedy Fox was born. And actually, I always bring this up in my videos. If you're new here, my number 1 bucket list goal as an author was to quit my full-time corporate job. I had my job for a decade while I was writing. And actually in March 1st of 2020, I was able to quit my job because we had done so well financially. So yeah, I am living the full-time author dream. My cat, I told y'all she does this every time. I'm living the full-time author dream, and it's not without hard work, but I'm not special. So if that's what you want, guys, I am living proof that if you stay consistent and you keep pushing forward, you can do that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with this presentation. Okay, so where is my cursor? Okay, there it is. So this is going to be a 2-way conversation as well, because I don't want to just be up here, you know, talking the whole time. My question to you, and make sure you put it in the chat, is what is Author Platform, or what do you think Author Platform is? And I'll wait and check out some of y'all's answers to that. Let's see. What is Author Platform? You let me know. I'm checking all of your comments right now. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Name recognition in social media. That's good. Instagram. That's good. Internet site. Twitter. your website. I love all these answers. Your online presence, how people find you as an author in your work. Yeah, how you connect with your readers. There we go. Social media, website. Man, y'all are so smart. Author platform is your social media presence as an author, or I guess any media. Yeah, there's a lot of really great answers on here. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we're gonna go to the next slide. So this is a definition that I kind of wrote. It's the different avenues used to reach your readers or grow your personal brand. And I think that all of it together makes up your author platform. So your social media accounts, I listed a bunch of social media accounts here. I will go over each of them individually. Your distribution, this is the way that you put your books out into the world, the way that your readers find your work and actually devour it. Notice I did put on here agents and publishers as well, because I feel like if you are a traditional published author, if you sign with a big agent, then those people will help you connect to more readers. Same with publishers. If you sign with one of the dream publishers, you know, Simon & Schuster, HarperCollins, they have a very large reach as compared to, you know, a small press. So, and then there's other ways that you can reach your readers as well. Your website, your newsletter, your blog, all of those. And this is not like, this is it. Like, there are so many other things that could be added to this list that are not on here, but I think that y'all kind of get what I'm saying here. It's basically everything. It's everything online, in person, the way that they read your books, all of that. So, yeah, everybody's saying social media, brand, newsletter. Yeah, it's awesome. Perfect. I'm so glad that y'all are on the same page. Many of y'all probably already know this stuff. Yeah, I love this. This is expanding my view of what author platform is. Yay! Goal accomplished. We're done here, guys. Bye. I'm just kidding. So one of the questions that a lot of people ask me is, they're like, but Courtney, when do I start working on my author platform? And how do I start working on it? Like, when is the best time to do this? And I've got the answer for you. And so the time is now. Now is the time to work on author platform. When we started Kennedy Fox, we started creating all of our accounts and our social media and our website and our newsletter and everything like 5 months in advance. We started that in June of 2016, and we did not release until October of 2016. And to say the same thing for Lyra Parrish. When I started Lyra Parrish and I knew for a fact that I was going to self-publish, I started 6 months beforehand. I started or maybe it wasn't 6 months, it was September of 2013, and I published in January of 2014. And so the time to start working on your author platform is when you start working on that book, because that's when you are really excited about what you're doing and you want to talk about it. And there are tons of readers out there that love listening to Journey. And, you know, you write this amazing line, you can share a teaser. And so I put the 4 basic author platform stages. And so, of course, you're writing the book. That's when you start. When you finish your book, that's when you start your pre-marketing plan. That's when you decide to start sharing covers and, you know, start emailing people on your newsletter and things of that nature. Then when you publish, you do that all over again. It's kind of like a rinse and repeat cycle. And so for us, the reason I think that we are so successful is because we're consistent. We write a book. We talk about that book while we're writing it. We tease our readers while we are writing that book. We create teasers for that book. We share them all over the place. Brooke is really great about sharing snippets about what we're working on in our reader group. We will create like cute little images for our books. We finish that book, and that's when it really starts. We start pushing our pre-order links. We start pushing it out to the world, and then we publish. And then, you know, yay, it's publishing day. Our book just was revealed out to the world. People are reading it. The excitement is still up in the air. People are still talking about it, sharing it. Word of mouth happens. And then you start all over from the beginning again. You start working on that next book. And on each one of these stages of author platform, you are continuously building your readership. From the beginning to the end. And while you're writing that other book, people are still finding you from your backlist. That's why backlist is so important. And so people always say, well, how? Courtney, how do I do all this stuff? I'm so overwhelmed. And so I've created the 5 W's to help you understand and build the foundation of your author platform. And that's what this is. Ta-da! I don't have sound effects on my slides, so I just make them myself. But if you know these answers, then I think you know exactly what you need to do for your author platform and your social media, specifically your website, your newsletter. Who are you? Who are you? So Kennedy Fox, we are 2 30-something females who got together to self-publish a book. We write romance. Who will like our books? We know TA means target audience. We know exactly who our target audience is. Typically, our audience ranges from the ages of 26 to maybe mid-40s. Typically, they are college students or moms. And they love a happily ever after. And our goal is to continuously challenge ourselves and raise the bar and be financially successful. And so, also, we want to have fun. Like, that was the whole reason that we co-wrote, like, was to have fun. At the point where we're not having fun anymore, it's kind of like, why are we even doing this? And after 25 books, I think that, you know, we're still having fun. But these, if you can answer these questions, this is kind of like your mission statement. This will help you when you go to share things on your social media. It will help you determine what you should share. If you are writing romance, you know, should you be sharing these horror snippets on your social media? It helps you stay branded. If you know who your target audience is, you know where to find those people. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to go, like, I don't know, to a Comic-Con, I guess, and try to find romance readers. That's not, I mean, I know that that's not my target audience. And if I keep my goals in mind, like, what are our goals to always continuously raise the bar and have fun? You can even break it down of what are the goals of your books. For Kennedy Fox, ours is that love always wins. That's basically the premise of all of our books. Love always wins. It might take you a little while to get that happily ever after, but you're always going to get it. And people have the expectation because we can answer all of these questions. So let's continue on. And so the 5 W's, that's basically your roadmap, right? Because if you don't know where you're going, I love this quote, then how can you expect to get there? So if you just decide that you're going to write a book and you're just going to put it out there in the world, I don't know if you will be successful. There are always outliers. There are always people who just randomly publish something and make millions. You know, I wish that for every single person, but I have never been that lucky. I always have to work really hard for all the things that I do. And if you know who you are and what you're writing and your target audience and what your goals are, you have a roadmap for your author platform, 100%. Next up, let's talk about the social medias. Yeah, this is a big one, especially because we live in the internet age. You know, I don't know if, as an author who's self-published, if you can just completely ignore social media. I know that there are outliers. I know that there are some people who don't really have to post and sell millions of copies. But for us, social media is one of the #1 ways that we find and target readers. So Facebook. Guys, I know that there are authors out there, there's probably some of you in my comment section right now that think that Facebook is the devil and you will refuse to get a Facebook. And let me say this real quick. Get a Facebook page. That's me not yelling at you. Get a Facebook page. Like, Facebook pages, I understand if you don't want to have a profile and you don't want to update and you don't want to do that, but you as a self-published author, you 100% need a Facebook page. I don't care who you are. I don't care who your audience is. I don't care what books you write. I don't care if you write sci-fi, young adult, erotica, romance. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Women's fiction, historical, it doesn't matter what it is. You need a Facebook page. And the reason for that is because of Facebook ads. And without a Facebook page, you cannot do a Facebook ad. And Facebook ads, I know there are authors out there who are like, I will never do Facebook ads. If I told you that if you learn Facebook ads and you spend $5 a day and you can make $10 or $15 or $20 off of that $5, any person that I know would easily exchange $5. Here's $5. You give me $5 and I will give you $20 back. That's what Facebook ads are. They are so super beneficial for self-published authors. So please, please go and create yourself a Facebook page. I don't care if you don't update it. Put you a banner up there, put you a thing, do random updates. You don't have to be super active on it, but you will need it to find new readers, especially when you're trying to scale up on building your author platform. Okay. So, guys, real quick, I know there's a lot of questions in here. I'm not trying to ignore you, but save them for the Q&A, write them down, and I will be happy to answer as many of those questions as I can towards the end. Instagram. I hear a lot of authors say, Instagram, my readers are just not there. I'm not going to create an Instagram. They're not there. Well, there's a little thing called Instagram ads, right? And I bet you that your readers are there. You're just not looking in the right place. And so for Instagram, you need to search hashtags that are relevant for your genre. And you need to search hashtags like the Bookstagram hashtag. You can do the am reading. I'm from Texas. I forgot to mention that. So sometimes my vowels are a little bit country. Am reading, hashtag am reading, hashtag am reading sci-fi, hashtag am reading historical. I promise you that if you look for your readers on Instagram, they are there. You are just not looking for them. And maybe you say that you've tried, but I'll tell you with Kennedy Fox, we went through and we found when we launched, when we were building the grassroots efforts for our author platform, because remember we started at 0, we went through and we went ahead and sorry, I'm trying not to look at these comments, but we'll get back to some of those. With Instagram, we went through and we looked for hashtags for people who were reading romance. And I hear a lot of people say that Instagram is a bunch of young kids. Not true. Instagram was one of the reasons that we did so well to launch. We found people who do beautiful flat lay photographs, who read the type of books that we wrote, and we asked them if they would be willing to read and review. Not spammed people. There's a difference between sending personal messages to specific people and spamming people. This is you following the person, you spending the time to like and comment on their stuff, and then you reaching out to them and asking them if they would be willing to read your book. Send them a paperback copy. Most likely when book bloggers get paperback copies of your books, they will take photos of it. That's what they love. That's their thing. And there are tons of beautiful bookstagrams out there for a plethora of genres. So the next one is Goodreads. I know a lot of authors say, don't go to Goodreads. Oh my God, it's the devil. I have been the author who has said that. I've been the author who truly believes that. But Goodreads is a place where readers hang out, right? Readers are on Goodreads. We all know that. They are there. There's the whole thing where Goodreads is for readers. True, but authors can put their books on Goodreads. So just make sure that you have a Goodreads page. To get a verified author account, you need to have at least a website set up. You don't have to have books published, but they will verify your website. Goodreads is great. Let me just say this real quick. Do not reply back to bad reviews on Goodreads. Do not be that crazy author who just cannot take criticism. on Goodreads because those are crazy authors and you don't want to be one of those. But Goodreads has a little thing called paperback giveaways, right? As soon as we know which books we're going to be releasing, you can go and you can find them on Goodreads and people will add them to their Goodreads list. We actually were in a Goodreads newsletter because so many people had added one of our books to their TBR list. And so Goodreads saw that and sent out an email to random people of like the top 10 upcoming romance books of like July or something. Actually, it was probably like October, but details. So Goodreads is a great place and they've got Goodreads giveaways where you can give away a paper book copy of your book. The way that people enter to do that is they add your book to their TBR shelf. And guess what? When people have friends on Goodreads and they add your book to their TBR, on their feed, it shows that that book was added. And so their friends get to see that they added it. And then, oh, their friends are like, oh, wow, they just entered a giveaway. I want that book too. And then they add it and then it just continues on and people see and you get visibility on your upcoming release with the Goodreads giveaway. It is a price. I think it's $125 or $120, $119.99. I don't know. It's a dollar amount that you have to pay now for Goodreads giveaways. Used to be free, but now they're charging, which is okay. But it's a great thing to add into your marketing toolbox, right? Your launch toolbox. Goodreads is great. There's groups on there for authors. I have found beta readers and paid critique partners on Goodreads and author groups. Just don't be that crazy author. You know what I'm saying? That attacks readers. Nobody likes that person. So next up is BookBub. BookBub is a great resource, guys. If you can get a BookBub's featured ad for your first book in your series, if you have a series, then typically the read through on BookBub, you make your money back plus some. Also, BookBub has a website. Did you know that? Did you know they have a website where you can go and claim your author profile? Yep. And you can do status updates and you can share your friends' books and bloggers can share your books on there. And it's like a whole like community on BookBub, which is really cool. And when you get people to follow you on your BookBub profile, real quick, you have to be a published author. You have to have at least one book out to claim your profile. But when people follow you on BookBub, they get emails from BookBub saying that you had a book release. What? BookBub emails them for you that you had a book release. Back to Goodreads real quick. Sorry, I missed this. When people add it to their TBR list before your book releases, and then your book releases on Goodreads, Goodreads always also emails the person who added that book to their TBR and lets them know that it was released. So Goodreads, they're telling them, hey, this book released. BookBub is telling them, hey, this book released. And so, you know, that's two other platforms that is reaching out to your readers and you're not actually having to do that yourself. So it's very beneficial. Because, you know, they say like a reader has to see your book, 8, 10, 12 times before they actually decide to purchase it. So, I mean, if you're on Facebook and Instagram, you've got all these people sharing your stuff and then you've got Goodreads emailing people and then BookBub emailing people, like, that's already 4, right? Moving right along on this list, we've got Twitter. As a self-published author, I don't find Twitter to be beneficial. I've never found it to be beneficial as far as selling books. I will say that Twitter is a great place to network, to find other authors. It's also a dumpster fire. There's a lot of drama there if you're into that thing. Just being honest, I don't really care for Twitter. But there are a lot of people who do. There's a lot of traditional published authors on there. There are a lot of agents on there. And there are a lot of readers on there too. But I haven't found that my time is worth spending it on Twitter. I haven't found Twitter ads to be beneficial whatsoever. I found it to be a waste of money. And maybe that's because of the genre that I write. Maybe you all have had you know, better experience. But Twitter for me is basically for you to grow your own personal brand, like you as an author, not to sell books. TikTok, this is a fairly new one. I do have a TikTok. My husband has a TikTok too. He has 73,000 followers on it. Yeah, he's kind of a superstar. What can I say? I tried to catch up with him, but have failed miserably. But there are a lot of traditional published authors there. It's kind of a new platform. If you're not on TikTok, uh, create yourself one. You don't have to post on it, but there are there's a book club there, and people are like sharing books, and there's other authors that are sharing their work, and they come up with these really creative ways to talk about their books and stuff like that. I have a video where I talked about on TikTok where I had just like quit my job or whatever, and it has like 26,000 views, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, I'm downloading this book," and I'm like, "Really? TikTok? Okay." It's not really in my marketing toolbox, but I did create an account because I feel like it's important to have my name saved on TikTok so someone else doesn't go get it. And that's for all of these platforms. I know that some of you are like, "Wow, Courtney, this is too much. I can't handle it." I don't care if you don't use these. I don't care if you don't use them. Go and sign up for them. So at least your author name is secure and somebody is not a D-bag and goes and takes that from you. Because once they do that, then like they'll never give it up. You know what I'm saying? So create those accounts so you have them even if you don't use them. The next up is Pinterest. I used to be really into Pinterest. I'm not going to lie. It's really great to create mood boards, to get inspiration for books. One of my author friends is really into Pinterest and she has tons of followers on it. And there's a lot of people who do Pinterest ads. I haven't got into it. I'm not well versed with Pinterest, but it is a thing and people are killing it on Pinterest, getting tons of reshares, getting tons of, they're setting up ads and they're making money with it, and it blows my mind. So yeah, I do know, sorry, I'm going to close my iPad because it's distracting me. I do know some authors who create kind of like creative different boards for their books to share with their cover designers so they can tell them, hey, like this is the feel of my book, this is like some inspiration that I've found, can you just look at this stuff and kind of like come up with an idea for my cover. So yeah, Pinterest. And so the next one up is YouTube. This might be a little controversial, but I don't care. This is my channel. For me, YouTube is not a place for me to sell books. I know that some authors really believe that it sells books, but I am not here to sell books. I know that my target audience, if we're going back to the 5 W's, I know that my target audience on YouTube is other authors. It's not my readers. My readers are not here. And of course, we're authors. We all read, whatever the case is. But the thing is I never come onto YouTube to say, hey, I had a book release. Here's all the blah, blah, blah. Go and get it. Because I know that you all are not my target audience. Some of you may be, and many of you have read my books, but it's not because I am basically telling you about them or asking you to go read them or whatever the case is. TikTok, I'm sorry, YouTube is one of those things to me where it's a personal brand. It's a way for me to grow myself as an individual and to share my experience of self-publishing. And that may allow me to network with different authors. And so I think of YouTube in a different way. It's not to sell books. It's basically to network and to join another community of authors, because that's also very, very important. But I'm not a YouTube expert. Guys, come on. There are people out there who have way more followers than me. So maybe y'all will disagree. YouTube's a great place to sell books. I don't find it beneficial, and I don't even try. And the next up is Spotify. So with Spotify, I know some of y'all are like, Spotify, WTF, Courtney? So what we do with all of our books is we create playlists as we are writing our books. We have a Kennedy Fox account, and for every single one of our books, we have a cover on Spotify, and we have songs that we listen to as we wrote, songs that mean something to us and to possibly those characters that we're writing about. And we put those links on our website. We have a playlist where people can go and they can, while they're reading, they can get the experience of listening to songs that allowed us to find creative juices or whatever the case is. And so that's why I include Spotify. We have a lot of followers and a lot of listeners on Spotify. It's actually kind of weird, but people love it. And even now, like when I listen to some of those songs, I'm like, oh, Checkmate, This Is War. I remember this song. Or like You know, if I'm listening to the radio, I'm like, oh, that was on our Hitching the Cowboy playlist. I remember that so much. So it's just a way to think out of the box. And of course, there's other social media things that you can add on here, Reddit, I don't know, Facebook groups. There's a lot of amazing Facebook groups, guys, for newbies. I just want to tell you all about that. Facebook groups are incredible for newbies. There's a lot of them out there that will help you answer your questions immediately. And so make sure that you're using that and try to get as much knowledge as you possibly can from all these social media networks. So anyway, moving right along. I knew social media was going to take me a long time. Oh my God. These are must-haves in my opinion. I know that list was gigantic, but these are must-haves. Like, you need to have a Facebook page, because when you want to scale up, you will do Facebook ads and you will find new readers that you have never found before. You need a newsletter. Newsletters, guys, you can start your newsletter right now. And I know that you're going to be like, well, Courtney, what do I say in my newsletter? Talk about what you're writing about. Talk about some of your inspiration. Talk about some of the struggles that you've had. Our newsletter is 30,000 people strong for Kennedy Fox. 30,000 people. That's more people that live in my town. We send a newsletter out when we have a pre-order up. Guess what? People buy it. They download it. We can directly see when we see a newsletter and how our sales go up on all platforms. The third thing I would say is a website, because you want people to be able to find you. And if an agent is looking for you, they're going to go and Google your website. If you are running Facebook ads, you probably want to send them to your website, so then you can get Facebook your cookies, and you can get that audience, and then you can actually target them with a Facebook ad when they visit your website. And our website, guys, we get 30,000, 40,000 if it's release month, 60,000 views on our website. Sometimes it's not very much when we're like in the middle of writing a book, but typically when we're like pushing our website a lot, we get a lot of views, and Facebook will put a little cookie in their thing, and then you can track them around the internet and just send them ads to your books. So I would say these are the 3 must-haves, but you also have to remember to have fun. So if you don't really like, Twitter, go and sign up for one, but you don't have to be super active there. If you really love Instagram, go all in with Instagram. Share pictures, share your journey, share photos of yourself. But yeah, I would say that's my top 3. Moving right along. Oh, and so for newsletters, I'm going to say real quick, there is MailerLite, MailerLite.com. You can sign up and you can get 1,000 subscribers for free. Okay, you don't have to pay for it at the beginning. So when you're new and you're just like starting off, go sign up for a free MailerLite account and you can send newsletters to people. You don't have to pay for everything right up front. I think when you're first building your author platform, you will spend more time doing it than you will spend money. Money comes when you're trying to scale up to a higher level. So let's go up. Distribution. My longtime followers are probably like, oh God, here she goes. She's going to talk about Kindle Unlimited again. I'm going to keep this one short. But distribution, this is a super important way of reaching your readers as a self-published author. You have to choose. Are you going to be a Kindle Unlimited author, or are you going to put your books on all platforms? This is your decision. Solely your decision. I do have pros and cons videos on being on all platforms or being in Kindle Unlimited. And I won't waste your time talking about this right now because I do want to save some time for Q&A, but I can tell you that Kindle Unlimited nearly killed our career. And for us personally, it's best to be on all platforms because it's a long-term game, and we reach more people worldwide. Some of the platforms are Apple Books, Google Books, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Ingram Spark, where you can do paperback distribution. So bookstores like Barnes & Noble can actually carry your book as an indie author. Draft to Digital. Even if you go direct on all those sites, make sure that you sign up for Draft to Digital and Smashwords, because those have other places, other platforms that you can put your books that you can't go direct on. And Smashwords have different ones than Draft to Digital. And the goal as a self-published author is to reach as many readers as possible. So make sure that you're on also Draft2Digital, and also on Smashwords. And you don't check all those direct ones just so you can find your readers. And I'll tell you guys about Kobo and Barnes & Noble. If you go direct with them, they have promotional things that you can sign up for. For Barnes & Noble, they're free. They will put you in their newsletter. They will put you on their website. They will put you on their banner. They will push you out as a self-published author. For Kobo, they've got specific lists. It costs $10, $50, $80, $120 for different promotions that they're doing, and they are worth it. Every time we pay the $10 to be in a Romance Friday feature or whatever the case is, we see an uptick in sales on Kobo. There are a lot of Canadian readers on Kobo, and there are a lot of readers that are worldwide. It's not our biggest US platform. And so moving right along, we've got we already talked about Smashwords. Findaway and Audible, that's two audiobook distributors. AXC, which is a way for you to find narrators. Findaway is also a way where you can find narrators. They've got royalty share if you cannot actually afford to pay out of pocket to get audiobooks done yourself. Findaway is a wide platform, which I have a friend who will tell you that putting audiobooks wide is 100% worth it. And then Audible, is just direct with, they do Amazon, Audible, and then Apple Books. So, and then other ways is foreign translations. As an indie author, you can get your books translated yourself. You don't have to have a publisher. You don't have to have somebody do it. There are companies out there who will help you translate your books. It will cost you anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000. But then you have control of that market yourself, and you are just expanding your reach to your readers. Next up is libraries. If you are on Hoopla, or if you have expanded distribution on Ingram Spark, you can get into libraries. We actually had our agent get us a contract directly with Hoopla so we could be guaranteed to be in the libraries, which we are. And it's been very beneficial. We get tons of messages from people saying they found us in libraries. And then, of course, we talked about the agents and the publishers at the very beginning. So your decision now is, how are you going to publish? Are you going to be KU, which means you are just exclusive to Amazon? You get paid by page reads. You don't make a lot of money. I mean, you can. I know people who've made millions upon millions of dollars in KU, but we didn't find it to be beneficial. We found that our rank was driving us crazy. We just found it to be not good for the Kennedy Fox brand. I will never do Kindle Unlimited. As Kennedy Fox, me and Brooke will never do Kindle Unlimited again. Basically, I'll tell you, financially, we were in Kindle Unlimited for 7 months or 6 months last year. Was it 5 months? I think we got out of it in May because Amazon kind of made me really mad. Another story for another day. But we got out of it in May, and that's 5 months. And I'll tell you, in 2020, the first 2 months of 2020, we had made all of the money that we had made in Kindle Unlimited in 2 months, and it took us 5 months. We tripled, quadrupled our revenue just leaving Kindle Unlimited. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. I don't like it. You might love it. It's a great place to start if you're new, but if you are in this for a long term, I would say go wide and build your backlist. So tips and tricks. I'm going to try to get through this pretty quickly, but branding, guys, branding is so important as a self-published author and for your author platform. If you look at Kennedy Fox, immediately you know that it's a Kennedy Fox book. We've got people almost kissing on the cover. We use the same font for our name on everything. If you see this right up here, that is our, Kennedy Fox logo. If you see that on the internet, everyone automatically knows. It doesn't even have to have a name underneath it. They know that is the Kennedy Fox, 100%. And I like to talk about publishing the best book that you can. You can have the most incredible author platform. You can have the best marketing whatsoever. You can have incredible branded covers. But if you don't have the publishing trifecta, which is an amazing book, an amazing blurb, and an amazing cover, you might fall flat. And you'll be like, I did everything that I could. Well, your book still has to be good. Your cover still has to be marketable, and it has to be competitive with your market. And you still have to have a catchy blurb, because there are people who will judge the book by the cover. then judge the book by the blurb, and then they'll start reading it and they'll either decide to continue on or not. And being consistent. As Kennedy Fox, we've published 25 books in the last, it'll be 4 years in October, because we are consistent. We constantly are looking ahead. We're writing a book now. We know what our titles are and what books we're releasing all the way through 2022. We have pre-orders set up for a year out for all of our books because we are consistent and we know that we're going to make those release dates. So if you can get these 3 things together and work on your author platform, like, you're going to be like mountains above what we are. And so there's other ways to reach readers quickly. Anthologies, guys. Anthologies are a great way to network with other authors and to kind of like have them introduce your readers and their readers. Everybody has their readers mixed together at this point. I've met some of my very best author friends from doing anthologies. Co-writing. Me and Brooke, we write under like our own, like we have Kennedy Fox. We don't write under our names, but I know several authors who kind of write the same books and they both publish under their names on the cover and they co-write. And so that's introducing you to their readers and their readers to you and all of that. Newsletter swaps. If you have any authors who you're friends with who are at the same level as you, newsletter swaps are great. Ask your friends if they'll be happy to, you know, put your new release in their newsletter and you'll do the same for them. It just allows you to expand to a greater reach. Signings. I love signings. I'm an extrovert if you haven't been able to tell, but signings are a great way to meet readers one-on-one and to network and meet other authors. Conferences, I have met so many authors from conferences that still like message me and they're like, hey, you were so nice to me at that conference. And I'm like, what is your name? Because I'm the worst at names. But conferences are a great way to network. It's one of the benefits for being able to do that. In-person events, I'm talking about like going to speak at local libraries or hosting like signings on your own in coffee shops and stuff like that. You get to meet readers and make an impression on them there. And then there's a lot of online book clubs. Sometimes they'll like be like, hey, can you come and talk to my book club where we're going to buddy read your book? And that's a great way to expand your readership too. Other ways, these are ways to kind of like scale up. Blog tours, this is like review tours. You can hire a publicist. There's other places, Espresso Books, I think is what it's called. Give Me Books is another one. You can do review tours where they actually have their own bloggers that they find to read your books. You can do blasts when you release where they have their own group of bloggers who will post your book on release. Subscription boxes. We actually have found a lot of readers from subscription boxes. They'll contact us and say, hey, can we buy your book at cost? We're sending out 400 books this month, and we would love to have you included in that. We love subscription boxes, and we always find them very beneficial for us. And then people take beautiful photos of our books from subscription boxes. So yeah, Instagram giveaways or hops. This is more of networking with other authors. Like if you have a big group of romance authors who want to give away a book, an Instagram hop is a way to get all of your readers to go to the different places and meet new authors. And then Goodreads giveaways, what we talked about, BookBub, which we talked about, their featured ads. And then we've got Free Booksies, which is another type of BookBub like newsletter thing where they send it out to readers. And then of course, Amazon ads, BookBub ads, and Facebook ads. A lot of authors that I know that make millions of dollars per year, ads are the way that they do that because we can only reach so far. Finding new readers is what's going to help you continue to grow and go to the next level. So how did I do? Let's see what else we got here. And this is my final thing. I know that this was a lot of information to take in, and I'm trying to get through it so I can answer some of your questions, but you have to remember that when you start building your profile, like your author platform and your backlist and stuff like that, you have to be patient. You can't compare this quote, love it. You can't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. You as a new author cannot compare yourself to where I am. I've been doing this for 6.5 years. You can't compare yourself to somebody who's 2 years ahead of you. You have to kind of like stay in your own lane. So you have to be patient. And don't set the bar so high that you're disappointed. It takes time to build your backlist. It takes time to learn Facebook ads. It takes time to be on all these social media networks. It takes time. But as long as you're patient and you are consistent and you don't give up, then you basically, the world is your oyster. Like, you can have all of your dreams come true 100%. So yeah. Okay. Q&A. I made it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, guys, I'll probably stay a little bit after to answer your questions. We'll end this at 5:10 because I know that there's another panel coming up at 5:30. So here is the chance to ask me all of your questions. I'm here, ready to answer them. It was a lot of information, I know. I will absolutely keep the replay up for you all so you can take notes. I know that I kind of like rushed through it a little bit. I will send Tamara my PowerPoint slides so she can maybe put it on the website for y'all to download or whatever if you would like it. But yeah, let's go. Let's go on some of these questions. Your backlist are books that you already have written. Yes, your backlist are books that have published. Lyra Parrish, I just actually unpublished my backlist and I'm going to rewrite it and restart on building my author platform. But yeah, every time you publish a new book and it's not so new, it's on the backlist and you're moving forward and you're continuing forward. Do you have a video on how to do this with a pen name? I do not have a video on how to do it with a pen name, but you would essentially want to keep your social media networks branded, in my opinion. I do have a pen name video where I talk about how you should choose something that's very easy for people to spell and to find that's not already taken. But just create all your social media networks and make sure that it's exactly the same. So like for Kennedy Fox, you can find us everywhere at Kennedy Fox Books on our website, Instagram, Twitter, all of it is exactly the same, even on Facebook. So I would just make sure that your accounts are branded and try to get something that's exactly the same. Yay, awesome. I'm so happy that you enjoy it. I started my AuthorTube channel today. What type of content would you suggest I share to connect with authors and writers? So Jamie, how far are you in your publishing journey? I would say to share your publishing journey. I was not smart enough to start my channel at the very beginning. So like, I just share things that I already know now, but I really, even though I've been doing this for a while, I love watching debut authors talk about their book, their struggles, things that they're working on, things of that nature. I'm not a YouTube pro though, guys. Trust me. Can your advice? Yes, it can apply to traditional and hybrid publishing, not really the distributions because like the distribution channels, because you don't get to choose that, your publisher does. But as far as social media and all of that, you can 100% do that. You just need to be careful, like with giveaways and things of that nature. I'm sure, you know, traditional publishers don't have issues with that, but I would just check with like your agent or your publisher or whatever the case is. As a hybrid, 100%, because that means you still have self-published work and you have traditional published work. And you would want to make sure that you have all this locked down to help you out. Any tips for young teen authors? I would say just practice writing, and go forth and conquer. I wish I would have done this as a teen. I'd probably have 1,000 books written by now. Half of them would probably not be any good, but I would say just, you know, write, practice. You have the internet and you've got time, so you have nothing to lose. No, it cannot. I'll tell you why, Estelle, because a newsletter is your audience that's curated who wants to know just about you. Okay. Your newsletter is that thing that if Facebook disappeared, if your website crashed, if any of that thing happened, you still have your contacts. And who's to say Facebook will be here 20 years from now? You might have a Facebook page with 100,000 followers. Heck, you might have a YouTube channel with 200, 5,000, 500,000, whatever. all of this stuff could disappear. Your newsletter, you have control of. So I would say no. You need a newsletter. You need a Facebook page. A blog is good if you're going to keep up with it. We usually just post our cover reveals and when we release books on it. You're welcome, JC. Let's see. It relates to your Liar Parish backlist you unpublished. How do you get the books to be gone from Amazon? Eventually, after time, they will fall off. They will disappear, or they'll say unpublished, but for the most part, they'll disappear. When I go to republish, I will have ISBNs, so they will not connect to each other, so people maybe can find them, but I know after a while, they'll just, Amazon cleans up and they go away. If you pay for a Facebook page, do you only have to pay? You don't have to pay for a Facebook page. You can pay for Facebook ads on your Facebook page, but Facebook pages are free. You can have as many as you want. The minimum that you can do on ads, I think, is like $3. I think I've done ads for $3 before. It might be $5 now. I haven't done ads in a little while because Brooke takes care of that, but you don't have to pay for Facebook ads. I mean, Facebook pages, you do have to pay for ads. Pages are free, 100% free. Okay. Okay, how exactly does it work to be in subscription boxes? Do you have to buy that many books for the box, or do they buy them? What about shipping them to the subscription box people? Okay, so it kind of depends on which subscription box that you are asked to be in. Typically, they pay for the books. They have like a set amount of money that they will pay for the books, like $6 or something, or whatever the case is. Or if your books are less than that because they're less pages, then you just tell them what it is. We write thick books, so sometimes they're a little more than that, but we just write that off as an expense. We're lucky because Brooke lives really close to one of the girls who does one of the subscription boxes that typically has it in there. So she meets the girl to drop off the books. Otherwise, it would be your responsibility to ship them to the subscription box. But that is an expense. That is an advertising expense 100%. And trust me when I say, I believe that the expense of shipping books after you sign them, because they want signatures, shipping books media mail, it's probably like $75 or something for a whole bunch of books. It's worth it. It's 100% worth it because you get to find new readers from that box. Okay. Sorry. My comments are jumping. So on the text side with wide distribution, are you using a PC or Mac and doesn't matter? Do you have to submit using a specific program? So I use Mac. You can use PC. You can Google like Barnes & Noble self-publishing, Kobo self-publishing. I think it's Writer's Life at Kobo or something. And Apple, you will need to get Mac in a cloud, I think it is, where you can publish directly to Apple. But the rest of them, you don't have to have a specific platform or whatever. Like you can do it on PC 100%. All of them except for Apple is the one that is kind of the pain. But I think, could be wrong, I think Apple now has a website for authors and a way to easily upload it for Windows users. Or you could always use Draft2Digital or Smashwords. I personally like to keep all of my money, so I don't want to pay Draft2Digital 15% of our sales just for them to distribute it to Apple when we can go and do that ourselves. And with Apple, I use the iTunes producer to upload that. Mooney says, what site do you use for a blog? We have our website hosted on a self-hosted WordPress site that's hosted with GoDaddy. You can check it out at kennedyfoxbooks.com so you can see what we put on our blog if you want. How do you go wide? What are some resources to help me learn how to do that? It seems really complicated. So it's not so bad. If you had like a checklist to go wide, I think it would be fairly easy to make sure you're hitting all the marks. Basically, the short answer to this is go and sign up for all your accounts, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, Google Books, and Apple. And then you would take your backlist and basically upload it to all the wide platforms. Just be aware that when you go wide from being in Kindle Unlimited strictly, that you have to rebuild your reach, because you are new to those people because you haven't been on those platforms. So it's kind of like publishing all over again, those books. But yeah, you would want to sign up for your accounts, get your stuff uploaded on there, all of your books once they're approved. And then I would tell your readers, hey, my books are in KU and they're leaving KU at the end of this month. So you better download these while you can and read them while you can, because they're coming out of the program. And constantly tell them that message. They are leaving KU and they will not be there. And then the first of the month or whatever, take it out of KU, publish it all on the other platforms, and then tell everybody now you're on all platforms. But yeah, it worked out really great for us. This one, any recommendations for what is better for when starting out landing page for newsletter building, for examples, versus website? You can use so like MailerLite has just like a landing page that you can use, and it's totally fine to use that. It's whatever you're more comfortable with using. It's easy because once they sign up there, it's like directly added to your newsletter. I personally would say to bring people to your website, because then you can put your Facebook pixels there and you can capture their information. So then later on, you can target them in Facebook ads if you want to. I would say website is better long-term, but if you're new and you're just trying to get something out there, then, landing pages are fine. Okay. How do you handle mean authors and hate groups targeted at authors? Ignore them. It's really easy. Ignore people. I just ignore things. I get hate all the time. Ignore it. If you get so wrapped up in drama, you will lose sight of what you're trying to accomplish. So ignore it. Block people, block groups, block whatever. Don't seek it out. Just ignore it and move forward with what you're trying to accomplish. That's just background noise, and nobody has time for that. Is that BookBub, B-U-B, BookBub. You can go to bookbub.com. You can sign up as a reader. If you have a book published, you can claim your author profile. You can follow other authors. You can share when your book releases. It's really cool. I think YouTube is a good place if you're a book blogger. Let me go ahead and say that. If you are a book reviewer, right, and you review books, your target audience is already readers, right? So that's why a lot of these YouTubers who have a built-in audience of readers, they release a book and they make USA Today and New York Times list because they have readers as their target audience. If you're an AuthorTube, your target audience is authors. I mean, we're all readers, but like I said, BookTube, yes. I would say if you want to find readers, BookTube is the place to be. That's a lot of work though. And as me as an author, I don't have a lot of time to be reading books and reviewing them. And I know that you have to do a lot of work to do that. So, for new writers on the way to publish their first book, how do you motivate people to sign up for your newsletter? So anytime that you talk about your book, or you share a teaser line or snippets, or I was really good when I first started about making teasers for my books. And every time I shared a teaser, I'd be like, I'm writing my first book. If you want to follow my journey, please sign up for my newsletter. I would love to have you. And I would just always make sure that that link was there. And I was always capturing people for my newsletter. I think when I first published, I had like 1,300 people or 1,000 people. I can't really remember. It's been a long time. I had about 1,000 people on my newsletter, ready to go, ready to purchase. And that was incredible to me that 1,000 people cared enough to sign up. So I would just say anytime you talk about your book, get them to sign up for your newsletter. If you have authors who are your friends who have already published, maybe ask them if y'all can do a newsletter builder. A newsletter builder, it's where everybody writes short stories, and you create like a small little anthology, and everybody who signs up to get these little short stories signs up for everybody's newsletter. That's another way to build it. But yeah. Sorry, I keep telling the vendors the books are unpublished. They keep telling me the latest feed from Amazon has them in. The books are listed out of print. Yeah. It takes a while for them to fall off. I know that I had a book that was unpublished. It was like an anthology, and it took, I'm not gonna lie, it took like a year or so for that thing to fall off of Amazon. And it was out of print. Sorry. Kimberly says, can you hire a publicist for the blog tour only? Yes, you can, Kimberly, depending on your genre. I think it's called Espresso Books. Just look up Espresso Book Tours. They do a number of genres. She's really good. Giselle, I believe, is her name. I used her back in the day, and she's still at it. There are different publicists that do events only, so you can ask about that. And there are, for the romance, there's Give Me Books. She also does events only too. So yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to expand your reach as a newbie, but not have to pay for a publicist like every single month. Let's see. Sorry. Why do you have to have every social media to be successful? Can't a person? Cassandra, you can just be on one social media. Like the 3 things that I tell people to have is a Facebook page, a newsletter, and a website. But you need to secure your accounts, because if you break out means you make a list, you sell 1 million books, you make New York Times as an indie author, you break out, like you are it. You are at the top of your genre and game. And you don't have your social media networks created, people who are D-bags will go and create those accounts so you cannot get them. They may pretend to be you. You don't know. So you don't have to have them and actually use them, but I would 100% say at least secure them. So if you sell 1 million copies of your books, you got them. And you never know with platforms changing and all of that, you never know. Instagram may be the next best thing to sell books because they change the way that they do their ads or whatever the case is. But yeah, I mean, we're mainly on Facebook and Instagram. We have all the other stuff created, but we don't use it a whole lot. Sorry, just going through. My question is, what are your thoughts on Wattpad? I think that it can be a great thing to practice on. I have heard horror stories of people putting their whole books on there and other people stealing them and publishing them. So if I was on Wattpad, I would probably do teasers, short stories, things of that nature, but I wouldn't put books that I actually plan to publish and make money on. Now, there's other authors out there who have made billions of dollars. I think, is it Anna, whatever, One Direction fan fiction. She publishes all of her books there, and then they take them off of there, and then they edit them, and her publisher distributes them worldwide. She's a success. But my opinion on Wattpad is I'm not going to give away my work for free. Sorry. This question is, do you use anything like Hootsuite to handle the social media accounts? Yeah, so the thing is, guys, is like, it can be very overwhelming doing social media, especially because most of you guys are introverts, right? And social media, it takes a lot out of you, especially, it's a lot. It's a lot of noise. It can be very distracting. You can use things like Hootsuite to pre-schedule stuff. So for me, on my Lyra Parrish Instagram and on Kennedy Fox, which Brooke runs, we use Planoly to schedule Instagram. And I use it to schedule Instagram and Facebook posts. But yeah, Hootsuite is a great way to schedule across all these different platforms. And you can do it way ahead of time for Twitter. I think they have Instagram, Facebook, like on everything. So Hootsuite is a great way to not be on all of the platforms, but to be on all the platforms. I need to set up my author accounts, but I'm considering using a pen name. I wanted to get an LLC, but I am in Cali and it's pricey. Should I give up on the pen name thing to start building? So I would say California is pricey. I have a friend who lives there and she told me what it costs to create an LLC. And I'm like, oh my God. And then you'll have to pay yearly fees on these LLCs. But I believe that you can get a DBA in California. My friend has one and she uses her DBA because she's not at a level yet where she thinks that she needs an LLC. I would talk to your accountant, not giving tax advice. Yes, I was an accountant in my past life, but I would talk to your accountant and see if there is a need for you to have an LLC, because once you hit a certain financial threshold, an LLC is going to protect you. But she does it with a DBA. And Apple shows her DBA, and so does everything else. Apple's the only one that will show your real name. The others, you get to put in which publisher actually publishes it, so it's not an issue whatsoever. But no, I wouldn't give up on it. I would just look into DBA, talk to an accountant, get some tax advice or even legal advice from an entertainment lawyer and ask them if you need this thing yet. And you can always, when you start making a lot of money, you can always create an LLC and change that stuff over easily. What platform do you use for publishing? We go direct on all platforms. So we go direct to Apple Books, Amazon, Kobo, Google Books, and what's the other one? Barnes & Noble. We also use Drafted Digital for the expanded distribution options because they have things that we can't go direct on. Why did you choose a different name from your author name? So for me, I worked in a top 10 top 10 corporation and Fortune 500 top 10 corporation. And I had to sign up a social media policy where I couldn't be on social media and all this stuff. And it was just easier for me to be someone else than to be my name and be easily Googleable and watched by my company that I worked for. And so for me, having a pen name and just branching off from my real name was totally worth it and much needed. I wish I would have created a name that people could say, because Lyra, people call me Lyra, Lyra. I wish I would have chose Courtney as my first name and then a different last name, but hindsight is 2020. Sorry. Anna Todd, yes, thank you. Yes. Lucky to open an LLC in Florida. It's really cheap. Yeah, in Texas, I think it was $300. So, and you don't have to pay LLC taxes until you make over $1 million. And if I make over $1 million personally on Lyra Parrish, hello, I'll be happy to pay those taxes. LLC stands for Limited Liability Corporation. Thank you, business degree. You were worth every penny. I don't know much about Lulu, so I can't really answer that. I don't publish books there. But I would say that if you're trying to hit a global market, I would make sure that you're on the big platforms, the Amazon, the Apple. Google Books is fantastic for us. Can't say enough great things about Google Books. And of course, Barnes & Noble and Kobo, but they're on our lower end. I don't know about Lulu. I don't know if they take if they're like a third party, like Drafted Digital. So I'm sorry, I can't really answer that. You can write off your first $5,000 in expenses if you decide to self-publish, I believe. I don't know about that, Alexandra. I write off all of my expenses for self-publishing. I also have a really fancy accountant though. But I would say keep all of your receipts for anything that you pay for self-publishing. Should be an expense for the most part. Not giving tax advice. Okay, so anybody have any last minute questions? I don't want to run into the next panel where they're given thoughts. If I missed your question, I'm so sorry. This StreamYard is just being a little bit crazy. But yeah, I think that this was fun. I'm so happy that you joined me. I really, really hope that you got something out of this. Like I said, I'll share the slides with Tamara and see if she wants to post them somewhere. And if any of you have any questions once this posts, if you're watching the replay, please feel free to leave them down below and I'll come back and comment and continue the conversation down below. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, I would just like to invite you to be a part of my little YouTube family. I talk about self-publishing, I share my journey, I share my releases, I share all that stuff. There's a plethora of videos just waiting for you if you're a newbie with self-publishing. And I plan on keeping this up now since I'm a full-time author. Yay. Hello, 2020. So I appreciate you all spending your afternoon with me. And it was good. So have a great afternoon. Make sure to go over to the other panel, the final one. And I appreciate being invited to be a part of this. It means a lot to me. But yeah, guys, that's all I got. Write all the words, accomplish all the goals. You will be so much more successful than me. I believe in every single one of you. Be patient, stay in your lane. Don't compare yourself to everybody else and go forth and conquer. You've got all the tools you need. Okay. That's all I got for real. Bye, guys. Have a good